What's up everybody, my name is Cal, and today I thought I'd talk to you about what I think are the 6 best looking cars from the 90s. Following on several months ago where we spoke about what were the 6 ugliest cars from the 90s, this series has been so much fun that it's hard not to look at what were the best looking cars from that period. And just like before, we're picking 6 different categories just to make it a little bit more fair and not completely biased. So we're looking at convertible, small car, SUV, GT luxury car, sports car, supercar, general car, which can more or less vary from anything from a hypercar to an MPV to a little city car. And if you want to join in, please do comment down below your picks for what you think are the 6 best looking cars from the 90s using those categories, and let me know what you think of my choices as well. So let's begin with one of the best looking convertibles from the 90s, which I think is the 1999 Honda S2000. It's a nicely proportioned car which looks pretty contemporary in terms of styling, even today. It has some very noticeable sharp lines and creases that make it look sporty, which I think is really cool and makes the car look good. I should point out that the Honda S2000 is a Fast and Furious and early days Gran Turismo favourite with a strong and popular following. It has a really simple curved design to it which makes it look really good looking. Hopefully in the near future Honda does revisit this car in some way, because personally I think the Honda S2000 was epic. I had to put the light on because it started to get really dark out there, so apologies for the inconsistencies. And now moving on to the best looking SUV from the 90s, which goes to the 1990 Mitsubishi Montero LS. This has to be one of the coolest looking SUVs I've ever seen. This is more or less what an SUV should actually look like. These days, most SUVs are designed to be stylish urban vehicles with very soft forms and luxurious styling, whereas this car is the complete opposite. It's very boxy and rugged, and I think it's the equivalent of a Range Rover of the time, but that is a compliment. Despite it being boxy, it's pretty good looking for an SUV. I really love the chunky wheels on this particular version because I feel like it makes up the rest of the character of this car. The aggressive creases and lines are also really cool and give the car a tough, masculine feel. If I ever moved to America, I probably would get this car because it looks so cool, and I would go off-road in it because it would be a lot of fun. And now on to the best looking small car from the 90s, which goes to the 1990 Ford Fiesta RS Turbo. There's something nicely charming about the way this car looks. For starters, this actually looks like a small car. You see, modern day small cars aren't really small anymore, they're very big. But that's probably down to us as people wanting things to be bigger and spacious. But sometimes that could defeat the whole point of it being, well, a small car for example. The form is a nice boxy shape with very good proportions. I really like the headlight design on this version as it looks a lot better than the next iteration. The design is not too fussy and it's pretty standard, but that is okay because that is enough to make a car look good, and in this case I think the Fiesta does look good. I really like the use of creases on the bonnet, which emphasises that it's a sporty vehicle, and also the use of the nostrils as well, which makes it a little bit aggressive. The styling in general for this car is very fun and inviting. The light green rubber trim that runs around the whole car is an example of that. And now onto the best looking luxury GT car from the 90s, which goes to the 1994 BMW 850 CSI. This is an exceptionally ultra cool car with remarkable road presence. I really like how squared this car looks. It goes well with the elongated bonnet and the creases that flow from it. A car with pop-up headlights is already winning in terms of good looking styling, and the 850 CSI is one of those cars. Most importantly, the iconic front kidney grills that are signature to BMWs are not obtrusive on this 90s era car, which means that modern day BMW should really hark back to this period because the modern cars are nowhere near as good looking. The styling in summary is very classic now, but having a 5.6 litre V12, it also means that this car is something special as well. And now onto one of the best looking supercars from the 90s, which I think is the 1996 Lamborghini Diablo SV. This is everything Lamborghini styling is. Mad. I think the Diablo personally is one of the most underrated Lamborghinis in comparison to the other cars, but it is definitely one of the most wild. I really like the wedged form that this car has. It makes it very contemporary in the time period that it's in. Not to mention the aero kit, which makes this car look undeniably insane. The fact that it's got roof scoops on the back make it look like a rocket. The low slung and wide appearance of this car definitely makes it demanding. Not to mention it has evident presence on the road, which definitely makes this car an eye-opener. I really like how this was before Lamborghini went highly geometric and angular with its car forms. Not to say that that's not cool, but it is a very common design trait now used in standard cars. Finally, onto one of the best looking cars in general from the 90s, and I think this goes to the 1994 Mazda RX7. This, the Mark III Supra and the R34 Skyline made up the holy trinity of the JDM group, and all three cars are incredible to look at. I particularly like the RX7 styling a little more than the others, but this is particularly due to the fact that it's got pop-up headlights, and also I prefer the shape of the RX7 a little bit more. I really love the side profile of this car. I love how it's very low slung and it's ready to destroy some busted up Civic. It looks very understated, but obviously it isn't for those of you who know what this car is. Just like the Diablo SV, I do like how this is also quite wedge shaped, but it's also very curvy and has these bulges, which does suggest and emphasize that it's a very sporty vehicle. Just like the S2000, this car is an iconic Fast and Furious car, as well as a Gran Turismo and Need for Speed vehicle, but personally I think this car has a bigger following. I still think that the RX-7 is one of the most ultimate and iconic cars in terms of styling from the 90s, and I hope in years to come that this car becomes a key influence in terms of styling for future sports cars. So in conclusion, those were my picks for what I think are the 6 best looking cars from the 90s. Of course, you guys will have your own opinions, so please comment them down below using the 6 categories, which are convertible, SUV, small car, GT car, supercar, and general car. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and also what you think of my picks as well. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!